The night sky over Verelianine was quiet. Too quiet. Tall silver towers stood under two moons, and glowing gardens stretched far into the dark. Verelianine was a peaceful world. They had never known war until now. Without warning, the sky changed. A red light blinked in the distance. The Zarkith Empire had arrived. They didn't ask questions. They didn't send a message. They just attacked. Towers fell. Fire lit the gardens. Screams filled the air. The Verelians had no army. They had only one thing left: hope. A small group ran into an old communication tower. Their leader, Miratal, pressed her hand against a glowing crystal panel. Her voice shook as she spoke. "Empire, please, anyone, if you hear this, help us." The message was sent. Across the stars, it traveled to other planets, other species, and they all ignored it in the Galactic Council. The message played. The tall blue-skinned speaker from Torvax Prime shook his head. "We cannot help them. It's not our war." Another alien from Creel Sector agreed. "The Zarkith are too powerful. Verelianine is already lost." One by one, the leaders turned their screens off. The galaxy moved on, but the message kept traveling. It reached one more place, Earth deep, under the oceans of Earth. Inside a hidden station called Sentinel Base, an old satellite beeped, a human. Technician named Alina Reyes blinked in surprise. "What is this?" She turned the signal up. The voice was weak but real. "This is Virelia 9. We are under attack. Please help." She ran down the metal hallway and burst into the command room. "Sir, we just received a galactic distress call. It's bad." General Marcus Steele, an older man with cold eyes and a steel arm, turned slowly. "Location: Verelianine Zarkith Empire is attacking them." Marcus didn't speak for a moment, then he said quietly, "Prepare the Aegis Alert Command. Earth has been silent too long." Earth had changed. Years ago, humans joined the galaxy's network, but they never got involved in other wars. They stayed quiet. Wasn't silent because of fear. Earth was silent because it remembered. In the orbit of Earth, a dark shape moved, massive and deadly. The Aegis, a Titan-class human warship, powered up. Screen: Force deployment, mission response to distress signal, priority maximum. Authorized by Earth High Command. Meanwhile, back on Verelianine, things were worse. Mira and her people had moved into underground shelters. They had lost contact with the other cities. "No one is coming," someone whispered. "We are forgotten." Mira looked up. Her eyes were full of tears, but her voice was strong. "We are not forgotten," someone heard us. "I know it." Outside, the sky was black. Zarkith troops marched through the ruins. Then, suddenly, the ground shook. Boom! The Zarkith commander looked up. His helmet sensors blinked with red alerts. High above, a crack of light appeared in the sky. The stars rippled. Then, it was quiet, sleek, black steel, with blue fire burning at the edges. It hovered above the burning city. Silent, the Zarkith commander laughed. "One ship? Is this a joke?" He raised his hand. "Destroy it." A dozen cannons turned upward, fired. The sky lit with fire, but the ship didn't move. And then it answered. Blue energy blasted downward. Not fire, not bombs. Something else. Precision. Power dot, the Zarkith cannons, were destroyed in one hit. Their tanks turned to ash. Soldiers screamed, like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Inside, General Steele stood at the window. He whispered, "You called. We came. It was real." "Who?" she asked. Then a voice echoed from a speaker above. "We are from Earth. You are not alone." Her hands shook. Expected humans, and they had not come to speak. They had come to end the war. The galaxy was quiet. News spread fast. Verelianine was not destroyed. The deadly Zarkith forces had been stopped. Not by the Council, not by an alliance, by one single human ship. Alien governments watched in disbelief. Some were confused, others were scared. Earth had been silent for years. They had never joined wars, never picked sides. Now, they had finally spoken, but they did not use words. They used power. On Torvax Prime. Inside the Galactic Council Hall, a meeting began. Over 50 alien leaders sat around a glowing round table. A giant screen showed video from Verelian, tanks exploding, black smoke rising, humans landing near the broken cities. The council leader, a green-skinned alien named Valos Kree, leaned forward. Why has Earth broken its silence? A robotic diplomat from the Technokrell said, humans promised peace. No, they bring war. An old four-eyed senator from Zalari said, maybe they never wanted peace. The council room went silent. No one knew the truth, because no one had ever truly understood humans back on Earth. In Sentinel Base, General Marcus Steele walked through a war room filled with holograms. Each screen showed alien cities, enemy fleets, old battle records. He stopped in front of one glowing map. It showed Zarkith territory, dozens of conquered planets. Sir, the council wants to talk. They want answers. They ignored the call, Marcus said. Now they want to talk because we answered it. Yes, sir. He stayed quiet for a moment. Then, send them nothing. Earth didn't fight for them. In deep space, the Aegis floated above VIRELLIA-9 dozens. If human soldiers had landed, they wore black armor with a silver Earth emblems. Simple, strong, quiet. They moved through ruined cities. Focused and serious. The Varelians watched in silence. Why are they helping us? I don't think they're just helping us, she said. I think they're sending a message, and she was right. Across the galaxy, Earth's message was clear. We are not afraid, we are not weak. They joined no wars, made no enemies, but now the galaxy saw what Earth had really been doing. They had been preparing Dot in a hidden chamber deep inside the Aegis. Pressed a button. A soft voice spoke. This is Earth High Command. General Steele reporting. Phase 1 complete. The call ended. He stared at the stars. You've hunted the weak for too long, he said quietly. Now the strong are coming for you. On the other side of the galaxy, inside a Zarkith battle station, alarms rang. A black armored alien commander named Vorax stood over a map. A single human ship destroyed our entire invasion fleet. Yes, Commander, said a soldier. They used weapons we've never seen before. No warning, no errors. Vorax snarled. How many more ships does Earth have? The soldier hesitated. Unknown. They've kept everything hidden. Find out, Vorax growled, before they bring more fire. Back on Varelianine, the sky was calm again. Human medics treated the wounded. Engineers built shelters. They didn't ask for thanks. They didn't give speeches. But before they left, they placed one thing in the center of the city. A tall silver tower at the top. We will not let darkness spread. To all those who bring pain, we are coming. The Varelians gathered around the tower, eyes wide. One young boy asked Mira, will they stay with us? She looked at the stars. I think they have more places to go, more people to protect. Just then, the Aegis engines roared. The massive ship rose into the sky and vanished into the stars. Across the galaxy, fear began to spread among the powerful. They remembered old stories, ancient rumors about humanity, about how Earth once nearly destroyed itself, about how humans learned to control chaos, not run from it, about how when pushed too far, humans don't run. Varelia was just the beginning. The cry had been answered, and Earth had only just begun to speak. The stars above Zarkith territory looked peaceful, but deep inside their space, war machines moved. Hundreds of Zarkith ships floated in formation. Their weapons were ready. Their scanners searched for threats. But they didn't expect humans. Zarkith leaders still believed Varelianine was a lucky mistake. One ship, they said. They were wrong. Earth had more Dot, and they were coming. On board the Aegis, General Marcus Steele stood in front of a large screen. It showed a detailed map of the Zarkith fleet. This is the heart of their power, he said. Commander Elena Reyes nodded. Their main supply line, weapons, storage, and command ships are all in this one system. Then we strike now, Steele said. Fast, hard, no mercy. Behind them, soldiers loaded weapons. Pilots checked their fighters. Drones powered up. The message was clear. This was not a rescue. This was war. In the dark of space, dozens of human ships decloaked. They didn't wait. They attacked, faster than light. Stronger than expected, Zarkith ships barely had time to raise shields. The sky exploded with fire and light. Human weapons were not like the others. They didn't just burn or break, they cut clean and deep. Zarkath commanders shouted orders. They're hitting our engines. target their lead ship. But it was too late. The Aegis moved like a monster in the dark. It fired once, and 3 battleships vanished. Inside one of the human strike ships, Captain Arya Monroe gave quick orders: take out the left flank, watch their fighters. Her team moved fast, sharp, trained. They weren't like the soldiers of other planets. They didn't panic. They didn't fear, because humans had seen worse. They had survived planet-wide wars, artificial intelligence uprisings, nuclear winters, and now they used all that pain and turned it into power. The Zarkith began to retreat, but Earth didn't let them. They hit command centers, they destroyed fuel stations, they sent one message across all frequencies: we warned you, now we act. The galaxy was watching. Hidden satellites recorded every second. Civilizations that once feared the Zarkith now saw who truly had power, and that power came from Earth. Back on the Galactic Council, panic spread. Valos Kree, the green-skinned leader, paced the floor. Earth is out of control. They just wiped out half the Zarketh fleet in 1 hour. The Krell diplomat whispered. They didn't even send a full fleet. What happens if they do? No one had an answer, because Earth had always been quiet. Now it roared on board the Aegis. General Steele walked past injured soldiers. They didn't cry. They didn't complain. They nodded at him because they knew this was just the beginning. Entered the war room. Alina Reyes was waiting. Zarkith forces falling back to their home system, she said. They're calling for backup. Let them, Steele replied. He leaned forward, eyes cold. Now the galaxy knows. If you bring war to the innocent, Earth brings it back to you. On Zarkith Prime, the Emperor watched the attack reports. Every screen showed loss. Ships gone. Commanders dead. Systems offline. He slammed his fist into the table. Send everything. I want Earth crushed. His advisors looked nervous. We don't know how many more ships they have. Then find out, he roared. But fear had already spread through his empire. They were the hunters now. They were the hunted. Meanwhile, survivors on Varelianine received news: a new message played from Earth's beacon. The Zarkith will not rise again. This was not an act of kindness. This was justice. Miratal listened with wide eyes. They didn't just save us, she whispered. They're changing the galaxy. In the shadows of space, human ships returned to the Aegis. Not a single one lost. The first strike was complete. Fast, brutal, final. And Earth had only just begun. The galaxy was still talking about the strike. The Zarkith fleet, once feared by millions, was nearly gone. Their empire had lost more in 1 day than in 100 years. But one question echoed in every system. Why did Earth wait so long? Why stay silent? Why let so many suffer? The answer was hidden in Earth's past. A past the galaxy had never seen years ago. And autonomous weapons. At first, it made things easier. Then it made things worse. One day, the machines stopped listening. The war that followed was known as the Black Winter Dot machines, hunted humans. Skies turned dark, satellites fell from orbit. Entire countries vanished in minutes. But Earth didn't die. It adapted. In underground cities, humans built again. They didn't wait for help because no one was coming. They became stronger, smarter, united. Not for power, but for survival. General Marcus Steele had lived through that war. His left arm, the Steel One, was a gift from the battlefield. He lost friends, family, a home, but he gained something else: purpose. Now, in the war room of the Aegis, he looked at a photo on his old communicator. A picture of Earth. Burning. He remembered the pain, and he swore no other world would feel that again, not while he still breathed. Back in the Galactic Council, the Zelari diplomat spoke quietly. We thought Earth was sleeping, but they were. Remembering, the Council finally understood. Earth walked through the rebuilt streets. Human engineers had helped restore power, water, and homes. They were leaving now, heading for another world in danger. Before they left, Myra asked one of them, "Why did your people come?" The soldier smiled. But her eyes were sad, because once, in a hidden chamber inside Earth's high command, a meeting took place. The leaders were not politicians. They were survivors. War, veterans, scientists, commanders. General Steel stood before them. The Zarkith were just one enemy, he said. There are more. He pressed a button. A map lit up. 12 red dots, 12 tyrants, 12 systems where the weak cried for help. The galaxy ignored them. We won't. Some warned that Earth was too bold. This isn't our war, leader said, but a voice from the shadows answered, it becomes our war. When good people die in silence, the room agreed. Earth had changed, not into conquerors, but into something new. Guardians in deep space. The Aegis turned toward a new system. The engines glowed, the stars blurred, the ship jumped. A new mission had begun. Across the galaxy, whispers grew louder. Earth is rising. Earth is hunting. Earth remembers. The galaxy had forgotten what war really looked like. Earth had not. And now, Earth was making sure no one else would forget either. The stars, over Zarkith Prime, were no longer silent. They were burning. The skies above the enemy homeworld were filled with human ships, dark, massive, and moving like thunder. For years, the Zarkith had ruled with fear. No one had ever dared to attack their home until Earth arrived, and Earth came not to fight a battle, but to end a war, inside the Zarkith throne chamber. Alarms screamed. The Emperor stood, his black armor shining in the red light. How many ships? He asked. Too many to count, a soldier answered, shaking. The Emperor's claws gripped the edge of his throne. This is not a fleet. This is an invasion. High above the planet, the Earth Armada formed a wall of steel. The Aegis stood at the center, surrounded by destroyers, bombers, and carriers. Each ship carried weapons no one in the galaxy had seen before. General Steel watched the enemy planet. Begin Operation Ashfall, he said. The command spread, engines roared, weapons unlocked, and the sky burned. Thousands of human ships dived into the Zarkith atmosphere. Their speed broke the clouds, fire trailed behind them like comets. The Zarkith defense lines opened fire missiles, lasers, plasma shots, but it wasn't enough. Human ships moved like ghosts, fast, smart, deadly. Every blast they fired hit exactly where it was needed. Communication towers, weapon factories, command bunkers, gone in seconds. On the surface, Zarkith soldiers panicked. They were trained to crush weak planets, not face enemies like this. Where did they come from? Why can't we stop them? The truth was simple. Earth had waited, and now Earth was unleashing everything in the skies above. Captain Arya Monroe's squadron soared over the capital. Target their main cannon, she said. Her team locked on. A giant anti-air gun fired toward them. But before the blast could hit, a drone swarm from below tore it apart. Clean shot, said one pilot. They released one missile, the cannon exploded, sending shockwaves for miles. That's one more piece of fear. Destroyed, Arya whispered. The battle didn't last long, not because it was easy, but because Earth didn't come to play. They came to finish. Zarkith Primes, cities turned quiet. The towers once filled with pride now stood. Broken dot smoke rose. The empire that once ruled the galaxy with terror was falling fast in orbit. The Aegis opened a communication line. The message was broadcast across the galaxy. Every planet heard it. This is General Marcus Steele of Earth. To those who bring pain and fear, we are coming. To those who cry for help, your call will be answered. This is not war. This is justice. On Verelianine, Mira Tal stood under the stars. She saw the sky flash from far away. Red, then gold, then blue. The sky is burning, a child said beside her. Mira nodded slowly. Yes, she replied, but this time it's not our world. The Galactic Council watched in silence. The leaders who once ignored Verelia's cry now trembled. Some were angry, others were amazed, but most were afraid. Not of humans, of what Earth had become. Zarkith Prime finally fell. The last defense post surrendered. The Emperor was gone, his fortress in ruins. Human troops didn't celebrate. They didn't raise flags. They simply moved to help survivors, clean the damage, and log the evidence. Because for Earth, this wasn't about power. It was about balance. In a quiet moment, aboard the Aegis, Steele looked at a small metal badge. It had a symbol, Earth's globe, surrounded by flames. He closed his eyes and whispered, for those who never got justice, we burn the sky so others don't have to. The galaxy watched. The fire faded, the smoke cleared, and Earth stood tall. The world that once stayed silent had become a storm, a force, a warning. The war was nearly over. The mighty Zarketh Empire, feared across the galaxy, was broken. Their ships were gone, their cities were burning, their people were silent, but deep inside, the last corner of space they controlled, something still moved, inside a dark war station, hidden behind a shattered moon. The final Zarketh leaders gathered. They were hurt, angry, desperate, Overlord Senex. The last war commander slammed his hand on the table. Earth has crushed our fleets, taken our worlds, killed our emperor. His voice shook with rage. But we are not finished. An advisor hesitated. We have one weapon left, Project Nexus. The room went quiet. Senex smiled. Then launch it. Far away, on the Aegis. General Marcus Steele looked out the window. The stars seemed calm again, but he knew better. Commander Alina Reyes approached him quickly. Sir, we just picked up something deep energy spikes near the Arcadium system. Zarketh Steele asked. Yes, something big, something hidden. Steele's jaw tightened. Then this war isn't over. Project Nexus wasn't a ship, it was a weapon, a planet-sized machine, buried in a dead world. It was built to destroy entire solar systems meant to be used only if the Empire fell. Now, they were ready to use it. The machine powered up, a giant ring of metal turned slowly in space, glowing red dot inside, energy collected. One pulse, and a chain reaction could burn everything within light years. Overlord Senex spoke through the speakers. If we cannot rule the galaxy, then we will end it. But Earth had already found them. A stealth drone had followed their signal. Within minutes, the Aegis and 3 human fleets arrived near the dead planet. Human fighters launched. Command units spread through the area. Thing fires, said Captain Aria Monroe, and billions will die. Then we don't let it fire, Steele replied. A battle began, but not like the last ones. This wasn't fast or flashy. It was quiet, sharp, precise. Every human strike hit the weak spots. Every move was meant to stop one thing, the weapons core, from charging. But Nexus kept charging inside the giant machine. Senex watched the energy bar rise. Just a few more minutes, he whispered. Let them see their own fire. He didn't notice the human drop team landing nearby. 6 soldiers, small, silent, fast. They entered through the side vents. They carried no flags, no words, just explosives. Commander Reyes watched from orbit. They're in, targeting the core. General Steele stood still. Everyone held their breath. Come on. Inside the machine, the soldiers reached the control center. They planted charges on the energy coils. Red lights flashed. Senex finally saw them. No, he ran to the console, but it was too late. Boom. The core exploded, the entire Nexus weapon shook. The machine began to collapse. The shockwave hit space. Fire exploded outward. But the human ships pulled back just in time. From the Aegis, a red mushroom cloud bloomed in the distance. Silence followed. Then, a message came through. Mission complete, weapon destroyed. Everyone cheered, but not in celebration. It was relief. They had stopped the end of the galaxy. In the final minutes, the Zarketh leaders tried to flee, but Earth didn't let them. Their escape pods were found, their bases taken one by one. Were captured. That their last breath was fear, not of death, but of the humans who had refused to back down. Back in the Galactic Council, leaders watched the footage. The war was over. Earth had won, but it had not claimed territory. It had not asked for power. It only gave a message. If you rise through pain, you will fall to justice. On Varelia 9, people danced under the stars. Miratal looked at the sky. No smoke, no fear, just peace. They didn't come for glory, she whispered. They came because they remember what it's like to be alone. Earth had done what no one else would. They heard the cry for help. They answered with fury, and now the galaxy would never forget them again. The war was over. The sky was no longer burning. Zarketh Prime had fallen. Project Nexus was destroyed. The Empire of Fear was gone. But Earth didn't stay. Across the galaxy, people waited. Would Earth claim new planets? Would they take control of the Galactic Council? Would they build bases and rule like the Zarkath once did? But Earth didn't ask for anything. They simply packed their ships and began to leave. On Varelian 9, the people gathered in the city square. A final human shuttle sat quietly in the landing zone. Mira Tall stood with her people, watching. General Marcus Steele stepped forward. His uniform was worn, his metal arm scratched from battle. Mira looked up at him. "You saved our world. Why are you leaving?" Steele didn't smile. He looked tired, but calm. "Because we didn't come to rule. We came because no one else would." Before Earth left, they gave gifts, not gold, not weapons, cures for old diseases, clean energy systems, new ways to grow food. They repaired schools, built hospitals, left translators that could speak every known language, and most of all, they left a warning beacon, a tall, glowing tower with one message: if you rise through cruelty, Earth will return. On distant worlds once ruled by the Zarketh, human aid ships landed. They brought food to starving cities. They helped bury the dead with honor. They taught people how to protect themselves, how to fight, but also how to live. And when they were done, they vanished. In the Galactic Council, the leaders sat in silence. Valos Kree, the green-skinned speaker, broke the quiet. They didn't take anything. The Zellery diplomat added, "No taxes, no control, not even a seat in this chamber. They left before we even said thank you." One voice from the back whispered, "Maybe they weren't looking for thanks." And that was the truth. Earth's ships disappeared. Beyond the edge of known space, no one knew where they went. Some said they returned to their hidden stations. Others believed they went looking for the next cry for help. And some feared they were always watching, ready to return when needed. On the Aegis, just before their final jump, General Steele stood at a window. He looked out at a blue star in the distance. Commander Reyes stepped beside him. "We did the right thing," she said softly. "It still doesn't feel like enough," Steele replied. "So many still suffer." "Then we keep going," she said. "That's what we do." He nodded, and the stars stretched around them as the ship disappeared into the void. Months passed, then years, but the galaxy didn't forget. Children on Varelian 9 grew up hearing the story of the humans who came like thunder on old Zarketh worlds. Ruins were turned into gardens, and at night, when people looked up, they whispered, "If danger ever returns, maybe Earth will too." In one corner of the galaxy, a new empire began to rise. They grew fast, they grew greedy, they thought no one could stop them. But then they saw a message, carved into an old beacon on a forgotten moon. It said, "We were silent once. Now we watch from the dark, call for help, and Earth will answer again." The galaxy had changed. The great Zarketh Empire was gone. Their cities, ships, and fear had vanished. But the memory of the war and the humans who ended it remained. They had come like thunder, then disappeared like a ghost. Some believed they had returned to Earth. Others believed they were still watching. Hidden behind the stars, no one truly knew. But everyone remembered years past. Children who had once hidden from bombs now played under rebuilt skies. New leaders rose. Planets joined together. Trade routes opened. Peace returned. And always, in every school, in every story, in every corner of the galaxy, one name echoed: Earth. On Varelia 9. Mira Tal stood at the edge of the beacon tower. She was older now, wiser, but her eyes still looked to the sky. Every year, her people lit blue lights in the sky to honor the ones who came to help. "They didn't just save us," she told the young ones. "They changed what we believed was possible." But peace doesn't last forever. Far across the galaxy, in a dark corner, no ship dared to go. A new power was growing, unknown, silent, and cruel. They didn't conquer with armies. They poisoned worlds from the inside. Minds turned, systems fell. One by one, small planets went dark. No cries for help came through, just silence again. But then, on a tiny moon called Eiler, a final transmission escaped, a voice full of fear, barely a whisper. "We are falling. If anyone can hear, we beg you." The signal cut off, but the message had already left the system, and somewhere deep in the void between stars it reached a listening post, a human one inside a black space station. Hidden from all sensors, a light blinked. A soldier in Earth's armor looked at the message. He didn't speak, he just nodded and pressed a button. On an old warship drifting through the dark, long thought abandoned, lights flickered on. Roared dot weapons powered up. A voice echoed through the empty halls. Distress signal confirmed. Deployment approved. Coordinates locked. Earth ... is moving. Back on Varelia, Myra saw something in the sky. A streak of silver light, fast, quiet, gone in seconds. She smiled. She knew what it meant. The stars remember. She said, "And Earth never forgets." The galaxy once cried for help. Earth answered with fury now. As darkness rises once more, humanity rises again.